1324. One man accidentally destroyed his own empire. Mansa Musa was so rich, his generosity crashed economies across 3 continents. But that same wealth painted a target on Africa that Europeans would hunt for 500 years. This is how showing the world your treasure guarantees your destruction. The Mali Empire didn't just have gold. It controlled nearly half the world's supply. While European kings pawned crowns to fund wars, Mansa Musa sat atop wealth so vast that medieval Arabic scholars struggled to calculate it. His capital, Niani, hummed with traders speaking dozens of languages. Timbuktu housed libraries rivaling any in existence. But here's what nobody understood then. This prosperity had remained Africa's secret for centuries. Protected by the Sahara. Hidden from hungry eyes. That was about to change. Because Musa had a problem. He was Muslim. And every Muslim with means must make the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. The journey would cover 4,000 miles. And Musa refused to travel quietly. In 1324, Musa assembled a caravan that defied comprehension. 60,000 men. 12,000 slaves, each carrying 4 pounds of gold. 80 camels hauling 300 pounds of gold dust each. The total? Modern estimates suggest over $400 million worth. But that number means nothing without context. Think about it this way. When this caravan crossed into Egypt, Musa gave away so much gold that he single-handedly crashed the Egyptian economy. Gold's value plummeted. Inflation spiraled. Markets wouldn't recover for 12 years. 12 years. From one man's generosity. If you're learning something new here, that like button actually helps more than you know. But Musa wasn't trying to cause chaos. He was trying to honor God. The road to catastrophe is often paved with the purest intentions. Now let me put this in perspective. Imagine you're a merchant in Damascus. Or a scholar in Baghdad. Or a banker in Venice. Suddenly, everyone is talking about one thing. There's a king in Africa. He's richer than anyone you've ever heard of. He gave away so much gold, he broke Egypt. This wasn't just gossip. This was strategic intelligence. Pause 2's, European powers had spent centuries fighting crusades for scraps of Eastern wealth. And now they learned that Africa, continent they'd largely ignored, contained riches beyond imagination. Portuguese mapmakers began updating their charts. Spanish nobles began funding expeditions. The word spread through every royal court in Christendom. Mali. Gold. Africa. Within decades, the first Portuguese ships would probe the African coast. They weren't exploring. They were hunting. And Musa had told them exactly where to look. Musa returned home a legend. He'd brought architects from Arabia. Scholars from Egypt. He transformed Timbuktu into a center of Islamic learning. The Jingareber Mosque still stands today, testament to his vision. But something else had followed him home. Attention. European cartographers created the Catalan Atlas in 1375. At its center sits Mansa Musa, holding a golden orb, labeled as the richest king in Africa. This wasn't flattery. It was a target acquisition document. SFX, dramatic sound, and this is where it gets worse. Mali's strength had always depended on controlling the gold salt trade routes. But Musa had revealed something dangerous. The routes could be bypassed. Portuguese navigators began exploring sea passages around Africa. Why cross the Sahara when you could sail directly to the source? The empire's economic foundation was about to crumble. But that's not even the worst part. Everything I've told you so far. That's just the setup. Because while Europeans plotted from outside, Mali was destroying itself from within. Musa died around 1337. And the moment his strong hand released the throne, chaos erupted. His son Magan inherited an empire already showing cracks. Within 2 years, Timbuktu fell to raiders. The Mossi people attacked from the south. Succession. Disputes fractured royal authority. If you want to see how this tragedy concludes, make sure you're subscribed. What happened next makes Musa's pilgrimage look like a minor miscalculation. His grandson Suleiman reclaimed some stability, but the damage was permanent. The empire that controlled half the world's gold couldn't even control its own provinces. External and internal forces were converging. And Mali stood helpless between them. By 1400, Mali was hemorrhaging territory. The Songhai Empire rose in the east, led by rulers who'd once served Mali. They captured Timbuktu in 1468. Think about that. The jewel of Mali's civilization, the city Musa had made legendary, stolen by former vassals. Pause 2s, drop your prediction in the comments. Did you see this coming? Meanwhile, Portuguese ships had reached the Gold Coast. They built Elmina Castle in 1482. Not as a trading post. As a permanent extraction point. The sea routes Musa's fame had inspired now bypassed Mali entirely. Gold flowed directly to Lisbon. The trans-Saharan trade that sustained Mali for centuries began dying. The empire shrank year by year, decade by decade. What remained clung to existence like embers of a dying fire. And this is why Musa's pilgrimage sealed Mali's fate. He didn't just reveal wealth. He revealed vulnerability. He showed Europe that Africa contained treasures worth any cost. And he showed them exactly when Mali's power would peak and decline. The Portuguese didn't need to conquer Mali directly. They just redirected the wealth. By 1500, the empire that once controlled half the world's gold couldn't feed its